Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Movie Mortis, where Movie Madness lives. I am Nick.
And I'm Drew.
And today's movie is The Evil Dead, the first one, the very first Evil Dead movie, the one that started the entire franchise. Why did we not do Evil Dead 2? Well, because I do not have any means to access Evil Dead 2, plus I haven't figured out Hoopla, but we found Evil Dead 1, and so we were like, yeah, let's do Evil Dead 1.
Also, Evil Dead 1 came first.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
well, I have something to correct you on
Mm-hmm.
because the Evil Dead 1 technically is not the start of
Oh
the
yeah, it's that
franchise.
short film. It's that one short film they made.
Within the Woods from 1978. A
Yeah.
short film that was directed by Sam Raimi and starring Bruce Campbell. And it was
Yeah.
very much a precursor to the Evil Dead, this movie. And it was a movie that they made. It was a 30-minute short that they made in order to get attention from local investors to
Yeah.
fund the feature length version, which was initially called The Book of the Dead, but then one of the producers basically forced them to change the name to The Evil Dead.
Hmm.
So.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. I'm anyways, general thoughts. I thought it was a little neat. Granted, I do think Evil Dead 2 is kind of superior, but Evil Dead 1 was still a solid independent horror film.
I definitely agree. I think Evil Dead 2 definitely outshines Evil Dead 1, but
Mm-hmm.
considering the fact that this movie was made for like I think $300,000, I think. And I think they had a crew of like 15 people. Like it was not a big crew at all.
Hmm.
And they were just a bunch of kids filming in an abandoned cabin in the middle
Yeah.
of nowhere in Tennessee.
Hmm.
I think, when you can throw in all of that, it's pretty impressive that the movie turned out as good as it did.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah. I agree. I actually heard that like Sam Raimi, like not only did he use his own equipment, but like he actually had to borrow a lot of like old dinghy equipment. Is that true?
Yeah, because they couldn't afford real equipment.
Yeah.
Hell, the famous shot style where the camera's speeding through the woods,
Hmm.
that's kind of a
Yeah.
trademark Raimi camera move.
Oh,
Do you know how they accomplished that?
was it
They
all
put
handheld?
they put the camera on like a wooden beam and had two crew members run really fast through the woods.
Huh. Wait. A beam?
Yeah, like a wooden beam or something like that, and they just
Oh,
ran through the woods.
I thought it was all just handheld.
I mean, technically it's handheld, but well, I
Hmm.
think the shot at the end, I think was technically handheld because I guess the Sam Raimi did it while riding a bike really fast to get the shot.
Oh,
So
I can
yeah,
see that. I can see that. Because like it felt kind of shaky. That whole POV shot felt very shaky.
they jokingly called it shaky cam during production. Actually,
That's kind of what it is, though. You know.
it is, except it's the good kind of shaky cam, not the obnoxious kind of shaky cam.
So one thing I had to do a quick look up real quickly is that the Book of the Dead, otherwise known as the Necronomicon, that's just straight up H.P. Lovecraft inspired.
Hmm.
Except I haven't read a lot of Lovecraft. I mean, I like more Lovecraft inspired things than I do like actual Lovecraft because I tried reading Lovecraft. I don't know, it just doesn't click with me. But I digress. The point is that like I did not realize that was H.P. Lovecraft inspired because H.P. Lovecraft was always like cosmic horror, stuff beyond comprehension. This one is just like evil spirits and everything. What do you feel like the Book of the Dead had a lot of H.P. Lovecraft inspiration? A lot, Drew. What are your 2 cents on that?
I mean, I'm not overly familiar with H.P. Lovecraft, so I can't really comment on that.
Uh,
But I do think I think it's a really neat sort of vessel for the horror to come from.
hmm.
You know, a book that when you say certain phrases and stuff can unleash evil spirits. And we probably should mention that for any of our eagle-eyed viewers, um, our branding is based off of Evil Dead.
Heck yeah.
Movie Mortis, Evil Dead, the Necronomicon Ex Mortis.
Yeah.
Even our logo is like the Book of the Dead with 3D glasses.
Heck yeah. By the way, shout out to Tim, who's been absent a lot, for creating our logo.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
his.
and
Sorry.
so I kind of bring that up, one, because it's cool trivia about us, but it's also because I am personally, and I'm Nick, you probably are too, but I'm a big fan of the Evil Dead franchise. And of course, this movie started it all, even though I think the movies that came after it kind of outshine it.
Mm-hmm.
But given the fact that this movie was made for nothing,
Mm-hmm.
it was just a bunch of kids wanting to live their dream, wanting to live their dream and not taking no for an answer.
Hell yeah.
You know, it's one of the, as an aspiring filmmaker myself, it's very, it's very much a case of you can't let your lack of money um, get in the way of your imagination.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like, they were very, like, they for what it's worth, like, I do think there is some flaws in this movie, specifically the constant screaming. Like, apparently I'm noticing in a lot of old horror movies, they, they, people love, and, like, a lot of people love, like, dragging out the female screams, which I get. I'm not gonna make a statement, like, I'm not gonna make some kind of like pseudo political statement or anything. It's just like it eventually got tired for, like, okay, yeah, I get it. Like, I know it's present in Texas Chainsaw, it's present in Nightmare on Elm Street, I think, and this movie, like, there was a lot. Like, it wasn't just the female screaming; it was also the demonic screaming going rah rah. I'm like, okay. It just like it. I don't know if they did that to pad out the runtime or anything. That's like my only complaint about this movie, if I'm being completely honest.
To be honest, I didn't even really notice the overuse of screams. To be perfectly honest with you,
Yeah, I mean, that's because, like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Am I saying females are not allowed to scream in movies? No, absolutely, they can scream because it's horror. They need to be scared. A lot of my favorite horror movies have people screaming in them, so by all means, scream. No pun intended.
besides the movie Scream.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, because, like, there's like one scene where, like, I think Ash is like fighting one of the possessed people, the one of the possessed friends, and, like, there's the girl.
They're called Deadites.
The Deadites. Well, I thought the Deadites were the spirits that possessed people, not the actual possession, not the actual possessed.
I think it's the actual possessed people that are called Deadites.
That's fair. Yeah, yeah. I mean, because, like, there's like a scene where the girl who's, like, locked in the basement, she's
Cheryl.
like going Sherry or Cheryl.
Cheryl.
Cheryl's like, it's just like, oh, good lord, you have to add that much background sound effects. And what I noticed about this film is that, like, it's gory, it's gory, but, like, there's they make use of what practical effects they have, and for when it does appear, they make sure to show it. Like Evil. I know I'm gonna be comparing it to the sequel, Evil Dead 2. You had, like, the deer head rocking back and forth. You had, like, Ash's hand coming to life too. I mean, but this one, it was a lot more limited. Like, still, you could tell they made use of, like, what they could. Like, whenever there's blood, they make sure that there was blood. Like, the scene where, like, someone gets but one Ash's, like, sister / girlfriend gets stabbed with, like, a pencil in her heel, and it's like there's so much oozing of blood. That or when I think Rick, what was the other male's name that wasn't Ash?
Scotty.
Like, Scotty, like, he vomits out the freaking black goo. It's just like this, like, I would not believe this is low budget. It was like, this is quite a lot of gore, and I'm impressed. Bravo.
Well, the practical effects in this movie were so good and so effective that this movie was actually very controversial upon release in 1981.
Really?
It was actually one of the first quote unquote video nasties. In fact, it even got banned in Germany completely.
Damn.
And it remained banned until 2016.
For 2016. Did I hear that right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
What? The hell?
In fact, the 4K Blu-ray copy I have, if you notice on the back, it says not rated because this movie was not rated by the MPAA.
Oh, they did that on Tubi. They did that on Tubi as well. In
Yeah.
NC-17.
Mm. Yeah, in some places it's rated as NC-17 in some places.
Good
Depends on
lord.
where you watch it.
So, by that logic, would this be my first NC-17 movie?
I guess.
I mean, like nowadays, there's. I mean, I argue the Terrifier movies are worse than Evil Dead One, but like, damn.
In fact, I think this happened. I just found this out last night. So, it was one of the two recent Evil Dead movies. It was either Evil Dead Rise or Evil Dead Burn. I think it was Evil Dead Burn, the one that came out a couple days ago and that I saw last night. It was very good. Um, but one of those movies was near. They had to cut something out, otherwise it would have been rated NC-17.
Hmm.
I don't exactly know what they cut out, but they cut something out to avoid the NC-17 rating.
Dang.
And so yeah, the first Evil Dead is rated it's either not rated or it's rated NC-17 depending on where you watch it. And now don't quote me on this. So take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt. But I think I heard in some podcast I listened to a long time ago they were talking about the Evil Dead that the first Evil Dead was so violent and so unlike anything people had seen before that Sam Raimi was brought up on obscenity charges in the UK.
Jeez, Louise.
I heard that on a podcast I listened to along several years ago. I I tried to verify that, but I couldn't really find any information on it. So take that with a grain of salt, viewers. But I did hear that from on a podcast I listened to a few years ago.
Huh.
Um,
So Sam Raimi, cause again, like 1970s was very different. So knowing that this
mhm.
movie was like deemed video nasty or too violent for you, it's just like, look, I can kind of see it. I mean, but nowadays it's just like, again, I'm not gonna use the Seinfeld isn't funny trope like I did with The Exorcist because unlike I actually enjoyed Evil Dead 1 for what it was, and what it was like an independent horror film and had a lot of cool things going for it. I really love how I really love those moments where where in the end where Ash was alone trying to fight off the last of the Deadites. He's barricading the door. He's going down to figure out what the hell's going on and everything. And
Mhm.
it's like there's not a lot of scope in this movie, but there's a lot of depth for everything for like the survival. There's a lot of depth in survival, if that makes sense, you know?
Yeah, it's a movie that feels very makes you feel very isolated because it's like we said before, it's about a bunch of guys, bunch of friends in an abandoned cabin in the middle of the woods in Tennessee. I think even in the movie it's Tennessee.
Hmm.
Um, and they find this recorder and this book in the basement, and they decide to play it, and it unleashes a bunch of spirits and shit. And from that point on, they're confined to this location. When after the tree scene, which we'll talk about soon, because I have thoughts on that scene.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but when Ash is trying to drive Cheryl back out to the town, they see that the bridge is out, and there's no way to get out from this area. So they're stuck there. They're stuck there until dawn.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, only Ash makes it until dawn.
He is the
So
lone survivor.
he is the final guy.
And it's funny too, because we when we think of Ash Williams, we think of cocky, tough, like I
Mhm.
ain't afraid of these demons. Like he did that in
Yeah.
Army of Darkness. He kind of gets that in Evil Dead 2. He's especially that in Ash vs Evil Dead. But here he's like the average. He's like the everyman. That guy he's just like he's terrified of these spirits and he's like why do you torture me? Like get away from me or just we see legit fear in him too.
Yeah, Ash Williams in this movie is basically a different character entirely compared to the rest of the series because
Oh yeah.
he's like you said, he's the everyman caught up in an impossible situation, and he's kind of a wuss in this movie in parts, to be
Yeah.
perfectly honest.
I mean, who wouldn't be when they're going off
Yeah.
freaking deadites and evil spirits? Can you blame
Yeah.
him?
Yeah.
And like the Deadites, I think are very consistent because they're always taunting and freaking out the characters. They're threatening to kill him or say, "Join us." They've been
Hmm.
consistent throughout the whole franchise, or at least what I've seen of the franchise. I've Drew has probably seen almost every Evil Dead movie except me. I've only seen Evil Dead 1, 2, and Ash versus Evil Dead. That's like the only Evil Dead stuff I've ever seen.
I have seen all the Evil Dead movies except for the 2013 one.
Oh
And
yeah,
I will
I almost forgot about that.
I will say this. The tone of this movie is very serious compared to Evil Dead 2 and especially Army of Darkness,
Oh
where
yeah.
in Evil Dead 2 it's a really interesting mix of like horror and slapstick comedy. In
Mm-hmm.
Army of Darkness, it's basically an action comedy,
Mm-hmm.
basically. Um, but then Evil Dead 2013, Evil Dead Rise, and especially Evil Dead Burn are all very serious movies.
Oh
So
yeah.
Evil Dead 2013 is a movie that's a kind of a serious story about addiction. Evil Dead Rise is a
Really?
yeah, from what
I
people
didn't know
tell me.
that.
Evil Dead Rise is a serious story about motherhood, and the newest film, Evil Dead Burn, it's a very, very serious story about toxic relationships and domestic abuse.
I didn't
And
know that.
yeah,
What's
but
Ash versus
and
Evil Dead about?
that one is a lot more camp. So
Oh yeah, I
I say
respect
that,
I respect the camp in Ash versus Evil Dead.
yeah, I say that in a positive way.
Yeah.
Um, but this movie is was meant to be very serious, and in fact, when they made this movie, they never had any intention of making a sequel.
Hmm.
So and so this movie is a lot more serious. There's not a lot as much of the camp that you would see in Evil
Hmm.
Dead 2 and in Army of Darkness.
Oh yeah. That being said, though, yeah, I agree, Drew. It's definitely it takes itself way more seriously. There's a lot more seriousness. Like, I actually laughed when Ash got knocked into the bookshelf and the freaking shelf fell on him. I don't know why I thought that. I laughed at that scene. This and I also laughed again when he got knocked into that same shelf. I'm just like, oh my gosh, they love pushing Ash into that shelf. I'm not trying to degrade the movie against that. It was just like unintentional comedy on my
Oh man,
on
just
my.
wait till we get to Evil Dead 2 when Bruce Campbell basically had to kick his own ass throughout the entire
Oh,
production.
Evil Dead 2. I'm not gonna like go into detail of it, but Evil Dead 2 I thought was more silly than scary. I just accept
Yeah,
that film
I
as more of a
agree.
comedy than it is a scary movie.
I, I somewhat agree. Um, but
I'm not
anyways,
holding the film against that.
yeah, yeah. But Evil Dead 1, like I said, it's more serious. It's got more of a drab tone to it, if that makes sense.
Drab.
Like 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 even the color palette of the movie is very the look of the film is very like obviously it's very low budget and grainy, but I think that adds to the sort of rawness of
Mm-hmm.
the feeling of this movie, and it makes it feel more like we're watching something really bad happening.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, like I feel like what really sells for me is Ash's reactions, because like when he's gonna dismantle his girlfriend. Was it girlfriend or sister? Is it girlfriend?
Girlfriend.
Yeah, he's gonna dismantle his girlfriend. He can't bring himself to do it, so he decides to give her a proper burial. But alas, the Deadite just messes with him and tries to kill him until he decapitates the Deadite. The Deadite, even though they decapitate, vomits like black ooze all over Ash. It's like I find it strange. I find it funny how Ash just seems immune from possession. Did they ever explain that in the series, or is he just like, or is he just like protagonist plot armor?
Well, he gets possessed in Evil Dead 2. So
All right, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I don't
so he
hate the Evil Dead franchise, viewers. I very much enjoy it for what it is.
but yeah, Ash isn't. I mean, if Ash was immune to possession, there would be no tension.
Yeah,
So it's just that he's the only one to not get possessed.
yeah.
So
One scene I found weird was the mirror scene, where like Ash like posts his hand in a mirror and it's just all like water. I thought that was crazy. Like it's like it's that was insane. And I think it's time we segue into the trees section of how like the deadites and spirits can possess objects.
Yeah, so the tree scene is, let's just say, I think the movie could do without the tree scene. Even Sam Raimi himself has said so.
I
Um,
I don't know how to feel about the tree scene. It was definitely weird. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, it would have probably made more sense in the sequels, but just like what, like if it just attacked and scratched the girl, it would have been fine. But like straight up like raping her or something, did
yeah.
they do that? Fucking
I mean,
hell.
people refer to it as the tree rape scene. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
that
Like
that's kind of why Sam Raimi himself has even kind of regretted putting that scene in there. So
it should have just been like scratches and stuff. Like if you just
I agree.
like if you just made it like take her off a fingernail, which would still be disturbing for me. Like
Yeah.
I swear every time a movie does like fingernail removing scenes, that shit gets to me.
Hmm.
Like that would have been acceptable. Well, disturbing,
Yeah.
yes, but you know.
Yeah, basically rape. That's not. Yeah, I don't
I
like
mean,
that.
it was a little weird. Like I was like, what the hell?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's kind of my only complaint with the movie is I just don't like that scene. Like I just don't like seeing that kind of stuff, to be honest. And again, my other really complaint with the movie, it's not even really has to do with this movie. It's just that I think Evil Dead 2 is far superior in every way. So
I agree. I enjoy Evil Dead 2 a lot more. Like, granted, it's a lot more campy and a lot more silly. And to be honest,
mhm.
when I first watched it, I saw it more as when I finished it. I was like, yeah, this is more of a horror comedy than an actual horror film. But I do respect Dead 1 for just really trying to go along with everything. Because, like, the only thing I really didn't like was just, like, the constant screaming. Just, rah, rah. I'm just like, okay, I get it. I get it. Maybe just throw in some freaking English in there, like, get kill Ash or something like it just got on my nerves.
Yeah, I did not feel that way. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I listen to a lot of death metal, and death metal vocalists like to use similar techniques. So,
Hmm.
I mean, there's even a death metal band called Ex Mortis. So,
Hmm. And there's a
so
song Ex Mortis by Ice Nine Kills, which is oddly enough about
great
Evil Dead.
song. No, really? I thought it was about Finding Nemo.
I'm pretty sure it's about. I'm pretty sure it was more about the Barbie movie. Not the freaking like Ryan Gosling that one other actress, like I'm blanking on her name. I mean like those the direct to DVD Barbie movies.
No.
uh, wait a second. It was Anya Taylor Joy. That was her name. Anyways, it was Anya Taylor Joy. But anyways,
In Barbie?
back to sorry, what?
In Barbie?
Yeah, I'm. Was
I
it?
thought that was Margot Robbie.
It was Margot. Fuck, it was Margot Robbie. Oh no, Anya Taylor Joy was in the Mario movie. That's why, and she was also in the menu. But that's a story for another day. That's a story for
Yeah.
another day. But
But yeah,
I'm
I didn't necessarily have a problem with all the noises that people
yeah.
and the Deadites were making in the movie. To me, it it added more to the visceral
Yeah.
horror, if that makes sense.
I mean, no, the noises were appropriate, but like there's just it's just that one scene in particular where just constantly going where like Ash is like trying to fight off one of the Deadites up above or down below. She's just like, rah, rah, just like okay, I get it. Like I didn't mind them in Evil Dead 2. I didn't mind them in Ash versus Evil Dead, but just that one scene in particular just like made me roll my eyes. Like, okay, this is kind of getting on my nerves.
All right. Well, I don't really have much else to add there. I will say though, the practical effects in general for the Deadites, like we were saying earlier, still hold up very well
Oh,
in
absolutely, they
2026.
hold up incredibly well.
And something that I
They,
want to talk about a little bit, dude. We could have talked about Evil Dead in our Troubled Productions episode because
oh,
this movie was a nightmare to make for the people who were
do
making
tell.
it.
I don't know the story behind this. I want to hear it.
So, like I kind of alluded to earlier, they had a whole crew of like 15 people, and they were all staying in this actual abandoned cabin in the middle of the woods in Tennessee, and it was cold. in Tennessee when they were filming, and so they didn't bring a ton of like stuff out there aside from like filmmaking equipment and the wardrobe the actors needed. And so Bruce Campbell has said that the clothes that he was wearing, because I guess they could only afford one outfit for him, and so because again, super micro budget movie,
Mm-hmm.
and so they would hang his costume up to dry after they were shooting for the day, and it would be so cold that the fake blood would literally seep into his clothing.
Oh,
Yeah,
dang. That
and
is.
because the crew were all staying in this cabin, a lot of them had to sleep on the ground because they couldn't afford more to bring in like more beds and shit.
Not
Um,
even a sleeping bag?
maybe some of them had sleeping bags. I don't know. Um, and the actors, when they had to play the Deadites, they had all this makeup on, and they had to wear special contact lenses for their eyes for that effect, and it effectively blinded them, and it was very painful to wear and to remove.
Oh, dude, I am afraid I cannot do contact lens. I hate wearing glasses. I think they make me look ugly. And quite frankly, I think I look better without glasses. But like, I already get so anxious. Like, oh gosh, I'm getting, viewers, I'm putting my finger in front of my eye right now, and I'm getting anxious. Like, I don't want to get any closer. Like, I cannot do that shit. And if I had to do that for Sam, I'm just like, Sam, can, can we like superimpose this like we did in Invisible Man, please?
Well, here's the thing. They were making this in 1980 and they didn't have that kind of technology back then.
I said the Invisible Man, not unless because like they did Invisible Man did something kind of similar. They like superimpose other footage over others to get that invisible effect and everything.
They did back. Are you talking about the 1933 one, right?
Yeah, 1933 one, the 1933
Yeah,
Invisible Man.
but even that was a super complicated process, especially for 1930s.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't like, and again, a process like that they probably couldn't even afford because the budget was so low.
Hmm.
Remember, this was a 300,000. I think it was $375,000, which for Hollywood, even for the 1970s, 1980s, was chump change. So,
Yeah. By the way, viewers, I'm still a little shaky from doing that thing with my eye and my finger. So yeah, I can't do fucking contacts. God, why have you cursed me like this? And just
so this,
what you
so
you said those contacts blinded him. Like were they like actually painted on contacts?
I think so because they, like I said, they blinded the actors and they were painful to remove too.
Good lord. Either these they actually use real paint for those contacts or those are like the worst contacts ever. Like holy smokes. That
Yeah.
is oh man, that's I'm sorry. That legit gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah. So yeah, this
They didn't get like eye
movie.
infections or anything, did they?
I don't know.
Oh, good lord.
Whew.
Okay,
So
I
yeah,
did
this
not mean to.
so yeah, this movie was not super fun to make for the people making it, and
What?
and there was also the added stress of whenever they were doing that shot of the spirit POV shot, the fast moving POV shots.
Mm-hmm.
They were basically risking breaking expensive equipment whenever they were doing it because
Oh
they were
my gosh.
because
I
remember they had to just stick it on like some sort of like wooden beam or a handheld thing or something and just run through the woods to get the
they
shot.
could just hold on to the camera. They could just hold on to it with their hands.
Well, remember this was in the 1970s and 80s. Like I'm pretty sure they didn't have handheld camcorders back then.
What do you mean? What like is it like one of those like if they had to do it by hand, did they just have to like carry it on their shoulder like you see in those like cartoons of like every time there's a news anchor?
To
Like
be
like
honest, I don't know the exact specifications of the cameras they used or the camera. I don't know if they had money for multi-camera setups, but
I don't think they did.
so
But still, it's just like, could you guys not hold it with your hands? Like, I'm not expecting you guys to like film with like handheld like home movie Super 8 cameras. But like, like even like there is some professional filmmaking equipment that you could still hold with your hands, you know?
And also, they probably couldn't afford, because I think the the invention of the camera stabilizer, the handheld stabilizer, I think, whatever it was called, or because I think they only had money for like basic stabilizing equipment like tripods and things like that. So, they probably couldn't afford those like dolly things or whatever. So,
Mm-hmm.
but they had this movie had a very like DIY sort of style to it.
And I respect that. I have a soft spot for like DIY movies, like stuff like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Clerks, this movie in particular, and Buffalo 66, which is a movie I'd really like to cover on the podcast one day.
But yeah, so yeah, like I said, this movie was. Oh, by the way, because the it was of just the cast costumes and everything. Um, they were again because it was cold in Tennessee. Um, a lot of the actors were super cold while making this movie. So
Oh
along with
hell.
the previously mentioned wardrobe issues that they had because
Oh.
fake blood would literally seep into their clothes.
If I had a nickel for every time I hear about crew members nearly pretty much freezing on set, I have two. It's not a lot, but it's weird. I know. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more. Like there's the girl in The Exorcist be freezing. There's Evil Dead 1. Okay, I know I said two, but I forgot if The Abyss had like people being like nearly freezing because of the water, but The Abyss is, I feel like I know we talked about The Abyss in a lost episode of the original Lost Patrol production, but I'd be down to talk about The Abyss as its own standalone movie because that had some very troubled production on it too. But like, what year did they ever specify what months they filmed in? Like, I'm assuming around winter time.
Well, it was kind of filmed over a long period of time because they kept running out of money. So it was, I believe they started filming in like 79, I think. 1979, I
Oh
think, but
wow.
then they ended up finishing in, I don't exactly remember what time they finished. Here, let me pull up IMDb here.
Yeah, I had to look up my HP Lovecraft lore just so I can get the Necronomicon comparison right.
Evil Dead, 1981. Even IMDb has the movie listed as NC-17.
Well, damn, this really is my first NC-17 movie because, like I said before, I think there's genuinely more disturbing and horrifying movies than Evil Dead 1. Again, I argue the first Terrifier movie is worse than Evil Dead
Well,
1.
well, well. Also, too, you have to remember that this was in 1981, so
Hmm.
what will what we classify as shocking today isn't necessarily the same as what was shocking back in 1981.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. What was more yeah, because like by the
okay,
way,
so here is a random trivia note from
uh-huh.
IMDb. A six-bedroom house that was 0.25 miles from the cabin used in the film was rented as lodging for the 13 cast and crew members, with several people sleeping in the same room in cots. Living conditions weren't great, and the team frequently argued. One day, all the power tools left unattended in the cabin were stolen overnight, leaving only two cameras. Afterwards, someone had to remain at the cabin each night after filming, sleeping on the hard floor next to the dying fire. When winter set in, the muddy road from the house to the cabin froze over and was no longer accessible by car, so the team had to walk the full distance each day, carrying everything needed with them. When the lease on the house expired, the remaining five cast and crew members were forced to spend the rest of production in the cabin, which didn't have plumbing. So they went
Oh.
days without showering and fell ill frequently in the freezing weather. By the end of production, when only exterior shots were left to be filmed, they were burning furniture to stay warm. Yeah.
I'm speechless.
Yeah.
Like
Like I said, conditions were not great when making this movie.
I hope it was. I think it was worth it because they started a whole freaking franchise.
Yeah.
Suffer for your art, man. Suffer for your art.
Yeah. Another random trivia fact. I'm just getting all this from IMDb
You're
because
fine.
I think movie
Oh,
trivia is interesting.
oh no,
Bruce
movie trivia is
Campbell
awesome.
Bruce Campbell tentatively asked his father if he could put up one of their family's property in northern Michigan as collateral to take out a loan so that Sam Raimi not only could finish the film, but also blow it up to 35 millimeter film, which was required for theatrical release. To Campbell's surprise, his father agreed. Raimi was so grateful for Campbell's financial contribution that he credited him as a co producer.
That's awesome. That is
That is
that's
awesome.
awesome. That's awesome. I want to ask you, Drew. Like, there's one effect that I think was kind of interesting because like it kind of stood out compared to the rest of radical effects. Like, it's that scene where like Ash's girlfriend's in bed after getting stabbed with a pencil. Like, he checks up on her foot and like her ankle just becomes so swollen and infected. Like her skin changes to that of like a deadite. Like
Mm-hmm.
that felt like they like colored over some film or something, or like turned like did they color over film or just like paint over her foot or something to get that effect?
I have no idea.
You
So
know what I'm
here,
talking
here's a
about, though, right?
yeah. So here's I don't know if this is related to that, but this is another trivia thing. The main ingredients for the fake blood were Cara syrup, non-dairy creamer, lots of food coloring. One point, Bruce Campbell's shirt that he wears in the film was so saturated with the fake blood, after drying it by the fire, the shirt became solidified and broke when he tried to put it on. That was fun.
Wait, it
Um,
broke?
yeah, because it was frozen and
Damn,
solidified. I'm trying to
damn.
see if there was anything about that particular effect, but I'm not
That
really
wait, wait,
sure.
wait, 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 wait. That sounds like something straight out of a freaking cartoon or a comedy film. Like
It does.
it just piece of clothes breaks and it just freaking. I'm pretty sure there's a joke in Ted, the show, where like the main character masturbates so much his blanket is just frozen solid, and they freaking break it. Maybe that's a coincidence. I'm not kidding. Like, yeah, that sounds like something out of a cartoon. Just like, oh, your shirt's like solidified and broken. Um, I wanted to say too, like, wasn't that the same shirt that Ash Williams wore in like the rest of the movie, like Evil Dead 2, and to an extent
I
Army of
mean,
Darkness?
I'm sure it was the same kind of shirt. I'm probably sure it wasn't the same exact shirt.
Oh yeah, same kind of shirt. Like, you think for the sequels they probably
Because
look for a second
also
shirt.
with those later movies, they got bigger budgets. You have to think
Oh
about
yeah,
that too. So,
definitely. And of course, the show had a bigger budget too.
and also too, a little trivia fact about Evil Dead 2.
Hmm.
The first 15 minutes of that movie is basically a remake of Evil Dead 1 because the footage for Evil Dead 1 was owned by a different company that wasn't involved with Evil Dead 2.
Hmm.
So, yeah, so they had to basically recreate it to give the audience a bit of a recap when they were making Evil Dead 2. Um,
Hmm.
Something cool about Bruce Campbell. By the way, Bruce Campbell is a fucking legend. That
Oh,
dude's the king.
100%.
Hail to the king, baby.
Hail
Um,
to the king, baby.
and no, I'm not talking about the Avenged Sevenfold song. I'm talking about the line from Army of Darkness.
I know
Um,
exactly what you're talking about.
yeah, so the one really cool thing about Bruce Campbell, again from IMDb, when there wasn't any filming, Bruce Campbell would actually help out with the crew in prepping shots and props around the set and getting up early to wake the rest of the team. He also helped with removing all the cow dung from the floors when the crew had arrived, the result of cattle being able to freely wander into the abandoned cabin for years.
Nice.
Dude literally cleaned up shit so that way the crew wouldn't have to deal with that. So
Hmm. Very nice.
yeah. Oh, by the way, the little thing. So the Oldsmobile Delta 88, the car that's in the film. Did you know that that exact car, I mean that exact actual car, was actually used as Uncle Ben and Aunt May's car in the Spider-Man movies,
Oh,
and
freaking way.
yeah, and it was used in Ash versus Evil Dead as well.
Okay, I definitely know that. I know that. I definitely know that because I've seen Ash vs Evil Dead. It's a cool show.
It was also in
Um,
Drag Me to. It was also in Drag Me to Hell too. So
damn, damn. Didn't.
okay, so here is something about that little one of the factoids I presented at the beginning of the episode.
Mhm.
In West Germany, you have to remember it was East and West Germany at this time. The
Yeah.
movie's February 1984 release was hindered by public authorities for approximately 8 years. Original 1982 cinema and video releases of the movie had been seized, making the movie a hit on the black market video circuit, with pirated copies abounding. A heavily edited version of was first made available in 1992. Several high-profile horror enthusiasts, among them even author Stephen King, publicly criticized the German ban on this movie. In other German
Mm.
language markets, the movie was never restricted from distribution. The first legal uncut version of the movie entered the German market in 2001 on DVD. This version was seized by German authorities less than a year later. Less than a year later, though. It was not until July 2016 that the uncut version of the movie rede- was finally redeemed and made legal available in Germany again.
Damn.
I probably should have
Friggin' European sin. Sorry.
I probably should have brought that up earlier. That but one of the big champions of this movie after it came out was Stephen King. In fact,
Nice.
Stephen King has called The Evil Dead one of his top 5 favorite horror films.
Hot diggity. That's impressive.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is really, really impressive. When you got like King on your side, man, that says
Yeah.
something. I know King is also a big supporter of Clive Barker, who made the Hellraiser movies.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, the white contact lenses that the Deadeye actors had to wear were very painful to wear. They covered half of the eye and had to be taken out every 15 minutes to allow the eyes to breathe.
Again? What contacts? What are these things? What or did they? Where did they like actually paint them? Like did they buy like freaking like was this like Timu contacts before Timu was a thing? Again, I'm already scared of wearing contacts normally. I don't want to wear. You cannot pay me to wear these contacts.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you could get the same experience from watching Two Girls One Cup.
Oh my god.
Hey,
Why are
they'll
you
hurt
bringing
your
that up
eyes.
here? Okay.
I mean, wearing the contacts, of course, not watching this movie. Wearing the contacts that were used for this movie. Not
Anyway,
yeah.
so Sam Raimi originally titled this film Book of the Dead, like I kind of
Yeah.
mentioned earlier, and initially released it under that name. Producer Irvin Shapiro suggested changing it for a wider release out of fear that kids would be turning off seeing a movie with a literary reference. Other titles that were considered were other titles that were considered were, and I'm just reading these for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Sex Bad Must Kill, lick the
What?
blood, lick the blood off of my shovel, and it was
What?
funny. He changed to the Evil Dead on Shapiro's suggestion.
I mean, that is the weirdest movie title, the like rough draft movie title I've heard since Indiana Jones and the yada 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 of the Mysterians. That's real, by the way.
Which which Indiana Jones movie was that a working title for?
King of the Crystal Skull. Hot take. I like that movie.
It was probably to probably to weed off internet rumors probably. Oh yeah, like I kind of said, in the winter of 1980, the film ran out of money when only about 80% of it was completed. In order to finish the
Mm.
film, Sam Raimi, Rob Tappert, and Bruce Campbell did everything they could to raise money, from taking out high interest bank loans to going back to original investors to ask for more money. This
Mm.
turned out to be a little bit easier since they already had a partial film complete, so the risk of failure was much smaller. In the end, about 40% of the film was created in post production.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, I wonder what scenes are. I feel like the friggin' like the friggin' foot scene where it just like it gets infected and turns straight to a dead might have been done in post production. I don't know what else could have been in post production. Maybe the freaking mirror scene. I'm trying to think of all the scenes that could have been in post production because everything just looks so real.
Yeah, yeah. But again, I think it goes back to that low budget sort of thing where it's like you kind of have to make it look real because one, this was before CGI, and
Yeah,
B, like you kind of have to work with what you got.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, and one more little trivia fact. This one's pretty quick. On the
Uh huh.
first day of shooting, during a scene shot on a bridge, the crew got lost in the woods.
Damn. Always bring a compass, I guess. Did they have any masking tape on this film? I'm just wondering because of like they like masking tape or director's tape, painter's
Yeah,
tape.
I don't know, man. I don't know. They probably had something. They probably had something.
Yeah, that makes sense. Honestly, I don't really have much else to say about Evil Dead One. This is like one of those movies that feel like it had it not got a sequel, it would have been like a great grindhouse like drive through type film. I think it's really good for what it's worth. It's like I can appreciate films that were made on a low budget and work well with what they do, and I think Evil Dead One is one of those. And it's nice to see like the roots of something big, because it gives you hope that hey, maybe I can make something just as big. And also, Drew is holding up his 4K uh, DVD of Evil Dead One. It looks freaking awesome.
It is so
Um,
cool. It's got the poster artwork on here. But I totally agree with what you said. It's like to me, this movie is an inspiring story. Like, hey, don't let your lack of money, hold you back from what you think you can do as a filmmaker. And
yeah,
this 4K transfer of the Evil Dead is really good. I really like that I have this movie on physical, obligatory fuck Sony.
fuck Sony.
Uh,
Yeah, we hate Sony.
we hate Sony now as of 2 weeks ago.
Oh
Um,
yeah, they also did something worse recently because fuck it, because just to bring another, just to say fuck something further. Sony, who owns Crunchyroll, is now restricting their entire store to people who subscribe. Meaning, if you want to buy physical media, you got to pay for a subscription. Eat it, Sony. Eat it. Shove it down. We'll shove it down your throat because of just how fucking idiotic you are.
oh, and by the way, I also have Evil Dead 2 on 4K right here. Do you want to know
Uh huh.
something? This
Yeah.
is a Studio Canal film, and
Huh.
Studio Canal recently had all their stuff purged from the PlayStation Store
Ah.
due to licensing. So,
Damn.
so make sure to grab your physical copy of the Evil Dead series of Evil Dead 2, especially since that's a Studio Canal film.
Mm-hmm.
If you're one of those people that bought all your movies on the PlayStation Store.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, so
Yeah.
so it's also interesting to kind of wrap up Evil Dead 1 because we've been at this for a while. Um, it's also interesting to see the beginning of Sam Raimi's career. He's gone on to do
Oh
so
yeah.
many other
Wait, is this
things.
his first feature?
Yeah, it's his feature-length directorial debut.
Oh,
And
I forgot about that. I was thinking of something else. Oh my gosh. That is so cool. Like, yeah, that is the beginning of Sam Raimi right there. Like, without Evil Dead, there'd be no Spider-Man, there'd be no Drag Me to Hell, there'd be no Dark Man.
there'd be no Send Help. There'd be no any of these other movies that he's made.
Yeah, yeah, there'd
And
be no Crawl, which he produced.
hmm and a lot of the other movies that he's produced as well.
Yeah,
And
like the
oddly enough, so after they finished this movie, Sam Raimi, like I kind of hinted at earlier, they had no interest in making another one, and they did another movie called Crime Wave, I think it was called, which is like a crime comedy type movie. Um,
hmm?
that one bombed so hard that it nearly killed his career.
Oh, good lord.
And so a big reason why Evil Dead 2 was made is because he needed something to um, revive his career. So
Hmm. Well, that's awesome. That's
yeah,
super awesome. So, Evil Dead One, not as good as the sequels, but It's a really nice movie. It's a good movie. If you like seeing the origins of like directors, or just starting from the beginning, I say it's a pretty solid start. Most people say, I mean, I agree. Evil Dead Two is also a good start, but if you're like one of those people that want to look for inspiration on like what if you don't have a big budget, you don't have nothing, and you want to start, look no further than Evil Dead 1, Clerks 1, Buffalo 66, Texas Chainsaw 1, and like there could be like a top, we could make a list video of like, best low budget movies to get inspiration from. And I think Evil Dead 1 is one of them. Pun absolutely intended, even if it didn't land.
Yeah. Also, if you're only familiar with the sequels of Evil Dead, don't go in expecting the groovy line or any of these other
Yeah.
things, or the chainsaw stuff or any of
Yeah,
that stuff that is in the sequels. That's the sequels you're thinking of. This one's much more stripped down.
yeah,
It's much more of a story about Ash Williams,
survival.
who's just a normal dude trying to survive this seemingly impossible situation.
Mm-hmm.
And it has much more of a serious tone that you'd probably than what you would probably expect if you're only familiar with Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness
Yeah.
or the Ash
Because,
vs.
like,
Evil Dead TV show.
yeah, I went into this. I went to Evil Dead 1 kind of expecting a little bit of camp, and it's only a tiny bit in there, just a tiny bit of camp, but not. Evil Dead 1's a lot more serious. So if you're gonna go watch Evil Dead 1, expect a lot more seriousness.
And I should probably mention, so these two 4K Blu-rays I have of Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2, I bought these several years ago when I was getting into horror just because I was hearing, oh, Evil Dead is a series that you need to get into if you're into horror. And so I
Mm-hmm.
remember being slightly disappointed by Evil Dead 1 because it didn't have any of those things that I just mentioned that I'd always heard about Evil Dead 2. But
Mm.
I thought it was good, but it's like, I was like, it doesn't feel like what I would have imagined Evil Dead to be based on, like, because I had mostly been exposed to just Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness up to that point.
Yeah.
Um, but then I saw it took me a little bit to get around to watching Evil Dead 2 after watching Evil Dead 1. But man, I the next day I watched Evil Army of Darkness because Evil Dead 2 was just so fucking good. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get this at the time, but I do have the Army of Darkness steelbook right here. It's very good.
Hell
Um,
yeah. Yeah, we talked about last time our physical media episode, hashtag fuck Sony.
Fuck Sony, fuck PlayStation. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, we got to do Evil Dead 2 at some point once you can get around to
definitely.
watching it. And so, because like oddly enough, I remember when I was first getting exposed to the Evil Dead series. It was actually years ago when I was a teenager. I was a big fan. I used to be a big fan of a YouTuber called Raging Amish who did Call of Duty gun reviews, all sorts of like Call of Duty videos, and he would include Evil Dead references in his
Mm.
videos sometimes. So I remember there was this one video where he was reviewing World War II weapons in Call of Duty Black Ops One Zombies, and when he got to the double barrel shotgun, he played the clip of Ash Williams from Army of Darkness going, "This is my
My
boomstick."
boomstick.
Which unfortunately you don't. I mean, yes, in Evil Dead 1 he does use the double barreled shotgun, but
Yeah, but it's
it's
like if the
technically not.
barrel's not sawed off.
Yeah, yeah, but the barrel's not soldered, so it's not
It,
really a
what's
boomstick.
funny too is that like I've seen that clip. He says it's from like S Mart, but no, it's from the
Yeah,
freaking basement. Evil Dead 1 feels like it gets retconned in Evil Dead 2. You know
it
that?
kind of because it kind of does. It kind of does. Like I
Yeah.
kind of talked about earlier, they literally couldn't use the footage from Evil Dead 1 when they were making Evil Dead 2 because so
But
they had to basically retcon Evil Dead 1 when they made Evil Dead 2. So.
correct me if I'm wrong, Drew. Correct me if I'm
Mhm.
wrong, but like didn't like Ash Williams, like we only see his friends in Evil Dead 1. Evil Dead 2, like it's Ash, his new girlfriend, and then like a couple of random strangers, right?
Well, technically, it's the same girlfriend. It's still Linda.
No, I'm talking like the rest of the friends though.
Oh yeah,
Like the rest of the people.
that's a different group of characters entirely.
Because like in Ash versus Evil Dead, he
Uh-huh.
mentions that he's shunned upon the town because people accuse him of killing his friends.
Mm.
So Evil Dead 1 is not entirely retconned.
It's not entirely retcon, but
It's not.
can get a little confusing. But
Oh yeah. I like to think it is canon. I like to think Evil Dead 1 is canon.
I
But that's just
I
my two
agree.
cents.
I
Yeah,
agree. To
because
be
like I said,
fair,
in Ash vs Evil Dead, he's literally shunned because the town accused him of killing his friends. And they literally show clips of Evil Dead 1 of
yeah.
him killing everyone.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Evil Dead 1 popping up in places, in the
Mhm.
original Nightmare on Elm Street, there's a scene where Nancy is watching TV. Do you know what movie she's watching?
Evil Dead Uno.
Evil Dead 1. So, in Evil Dead 2, Sam Raimi decided to repay the favor because there's a shot where Ash is in the shed that's just outside, and on the
Mhm.
doorway you'll see Freddy Krueger's glove.
No, I missed that, man. I freaking
Yeah,
missed that scene. That is super cool. Like that is super cool. They're just like that's like two films giving each other the high five. That is awesome.
exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, I really don't have much else to say. I already said what I said, so I think I will end the episode right here.
Just remember,
Oh.
just remember, everybody. Make sure to cross the Book of the Dead off your reading list, and join
Oh,
the
ladies and
Army of
gentlemen.
Darkness. Dude, I was honestly tempted earlier when I was like thinking how I was going to approach this episode. I was like, damn, I should just straight up sing the song Ex Mortis on the podcast. But no, because I can't. I'm not going to do it because I can't sing. So
Well, maybe when we hit 100 subscribers, we'll do a karaoke special. We'll do a karaoke
nah,
special.
I don't want to do that. I can't sing. I can't sing.
I'll do it then. Okay, if we hit 100 subscribers on your channel, you're gonna get a karaoke show from me, and maybe Drew can sit behind a green screen, just pretend to be like a crowd dancing, holding glow sticks up. Oh boy. I will actually do that. Okay, viewers, if you want to hear me sing, I will subscribe. I will do it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Movie Wars podcast. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and give that video a like. Smash the subscribe button for more Movie Madness here from all of us at Movie Wars. Also, follow the socials and follow us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and Apple Music. Thank you all so much for watching, and oh, there's something outside. Oh shit, a tree broke my